are on the agenda this evening. The minutes that you approved a few minutes ago are going to, and following purchase items, 2 Tahoes. The minutes come later. The 2 Tahoes that are actually on the agenda tonight for purchase, one to replace one that was bought at, as best I can determine, in error. But we bought 2 recently. Now we're buying 2 more. And I really have a problem with the purchase, but I also have a problem with the fact that it was purchased with SPLOST dollars. And I had a discussion that we never got to the bottom of with the last 2. SPLOST can fund any capital outlay projects that are owned or operated by the county, qualified municipality in the county, yada, yada. Therefore, capital outlay projects refers to major, permanent, or long-lived improvements, such as land, buildings, or other structures, roads and bridges, and major items of equipment and vehicles. Now, when you go down into those vehicles and definitions, such terms shall include, but not limited to, roads, bridges, police cars, fire trucks, ambulances, garbage trucks, and other major equipment. I see absolutely no place where it describes a Tahoe as a necessary piece of equipment to be purchased with SPLOST, especially for the county administrator. My second issue has to do with the executive session during the last meeting. That was a closed meeting for litigation discussion, if I remember correctly. And if I remember correctly, the county attorney was not present during that meeting. And a matter of fact, from the ACCG regarding this litigation issue in a closed meeting, the exemption allowing commissioners to discuss lawsuits is limited to meetings in which the commissioners receive legal advice from the attorney. It goes on to state that they need to be present before you can hold that meeting. It goes on further to say, same as I gave you last meeting, that if it's an improper meeting, it should be adjourned and you should walk out. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone else?
Mr. Ricky Manning.
Rick Manning from Bullhead. I'm going to ask about or discuss this aggregate and base material on the unpaved roads, which we addressed 6 months ago on some of it and still haven't heard back. But my main concern is, what is base material? I mean, this is all it tells us. Is it come from a proven safe source? As with last time, 6 months ago, I still have no answer on the base material from the dredge material. I actually went to the Army Corps, the engineers, and to Glenn County. None of them had sample results for the known contaminants that were in that water and in that land surrounding all of that dredge material, which were PAHs, PCPs, toxaphene, benzene, lead, mercury. None of them could answer it. Yet y'all sit here and approve it, just like that. Didn't bother to check what you was dumping out here on these roads. So my main concern is, have this been checked? I don't know. Nobody tells you nothing. I'm still waiting from 6 months ago for an answer for the dredge material. Not only from y'all, the road department, also from Glenn County and Army Corps engineers, because they had no answers. So if we don't have no answers, we can't sit here and just approve stuff that we don't know what we're approving. Those kids out there, there's shallow wells out there, and we need to make sure y'all's number one priority is the safety and well-being of the citizens of this county. Check before you approve things. You approved the dredge material, now you're going to approve this, and you probably don't even know what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone else, Ms. Bishop?
That's all I have registered.
Is anyone else? Seeing none, At this point, could I get a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and convene a public hearing?
Second.
Have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We're now in a public hearing. This is involving the second reading of the adoption of the proposed addition of an amendments to the hotel motel tax that we're looking at changing our code to going to, I think it's what, 5%,
Yes, from 3 to 5.
3 to 5. At this point right now, we're looking at waiving the second reading and adoption of the proposed addition of the amendments. Part 1, related laws, Article 8, Sections 703 to 710 of the hotel motel tax to the official code of Camden County. Is there any discussion or question? I think we kind of went through this pretty extensively originally. Does anyone have any questions? All right, does the public? Any public?
Can we ask questions?
Sure.
Are y'all gonna tax the motels in the city also?
No, this is just county. Come on up, give us your name and we know who you are, but it's for the,
Yeah, Matt
also
Jordan.
camera.
Is this for will y'all tax
Your name, just give us
Matt
your name.
Jordan? I live in
Okay.
Woodbine. Was this just for hotels in the county?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, are there any hotels in the county?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Anyone else? That would be Cumberland. I mean, Grayfield.
Oh, okay.
For one, I can think of, I can think of
It
another.
also covers the
It covers RV parks as
RV
well,
parks
yes.
also.
It's not just hotels
And VRBOs, I think.
and RVs.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting?
Second.
Have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We're back in the regular meeting. This brings us to our first item. Miss there she is, Miss McNamee. Didn't even almost see you, was incognito.
Good evening. All right, the agenda item, and I will just mention, if needed to state to the record, I did supply all of the backup and reports from the Army Corps of Engineers. I believe I submitted it to our administration, the commissioners, and also we had one written request from 100 Miles. And I did submit all of that with back to that citizen within about a week or two that had all of those records from the prior, all the soil reporting and everything that had been conducted that specifically outlined the concerned materials in
Have
that
been tested.
request. It
Has
has
been tested and approved, I know. Thank you for
So-
going ahead and bringing that up.
Yes.
That's not now, but we'll deal with you after this.
Okay, and then moving on to the purchase of aggregate and base material, just to be clear, the aggregates and base material are the same thing that Camden County has been purchasing from our local vendors from CEMEX and Seaboard and Martin Marietta for years and years. It is all tested and meets all the standard requirements of GDOT. It is a limestone base or a granite aggregate base. That is the base material, and it just is rocks with fines in it. And then the aggregates would be actually just the rock itself without any fines. So this was, we have our FY23 budget amount, which is something that we budget every year to ensure that we have rock on hand when we have significant rain events to rebuild the roads and fix washouts on our 129 miles of unpaved roads. The other funding source is coming from ARPA, which was approved at one of the budget meetings that we held, that we would earmark $400,000 to building up those roads, going to culverts or rocks to stabilize our unpaved roads, which does meet the Clean Water Act, which was one of the stipulations in the ARPA.
Right.
We know that our unpaved roads require consistent maintenance, and depending on the weather conditions, the roads can be very rough. Heavy rain events can cause washouts on the roads, sand, dry, wet, muddy conditions. Any of it is going to cause the vehicles to have issues. In the past, we did purchase small amounts of rock and tried to feed through the year. Last year, the Board of Commissioners approved $300,000 in funds to go through towards the aggregates. At that time, we anticipated only being able to make 7 miles, and we actually ended up getting 27 miles completed. We did rent rollers, we busted out the roads, we did a significant amount of maintenance to build up those roads prior to doing that.
Stabilizing them.
Yes, stabilizing. Since then, it did take almost a year to have all of it delivered. Unfortunately, in our society right now with material shortages, you just can't get materials as quick as you used to. So we opened a purchase order for 500 tons. In years past, we would have gotten that delivered in 3 days. They already ran out and we only had 250 received. And they said it might be another 60 days before they receive it again. So we are at the mercy of the suppliers and fending for line with everyone else. Our motor grading service calls and road complaints have decreased tremendously since we did the road buildups last year. We documented every road, how many tons were installed, and I have tracked those work orders through our system to see how many calls we were getting prior to the rock and how many we are getting now. We used to have citizens pulling cars out every time it rained on roads and taking their own tractors out to fix it. And I'm now getting calls saying, thank you, I haven't had to pull anybody out in almost a year. So what we are doing and the way we are building the roads is helping. Paving obviously costs well over $1 million at this point today. The aggregates and the haulers have become increasingly difficult to get a hold of. I can either get the aggregate and we can't get the hauler, or I can get the hauler and I can't get the aggregate. So we have battled that, and I continue to try to find new sources wherever we can. Right now, Martin Marietta has limestone-based material that is working really well everywhere where we've used it. CEMEX has had limestone rock, which has also had very positive results. The citizens have been happier with the softer rock than the hard rock from the granite number 4 that we have historically used. And both of those products are actually cost less money than the aggregate, the granite.
Yeah.
So right now we do have pricing and availability. I tried to outline this the best we could, so if anybody else needs to see it later. But we would like to purchase 1,400 tons of the 57 stone and then limestone base and 57 or number 4 based on availability. We're going to have to kind of work through that and roads. So I am asking for approval to use those funds for the ARPA and the amount of $347,410 and our fiscal year budget for $71,804. And it will likely take 6 to 12 months to actually get it all and install
right.
it.
Do anyone have any questions for Ms. McNamee over it? Now, I'm assuming we do not have the ability to haul this ourselves, other than dump trucks.
Correct. I mean, we can, and I
Very
think,
efficient.
yes,
Okay. In dire straits.
we could, and we
Yeah.
have.
And
It just
I understand.
takes all 5 trucks out of service to be able
We
to.
try not to do the dump trucks unless it's just a very hard up situation. I understand. All right. Seeing no other questions, could I get a motion on this item?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
On a side note, Ms. McNamee, would you provide Mr. Manning with some of those documentations?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mr. Chairman and County Commissioners. I'm here to ask your permission to award, or for you to award the contract for the new 300-foot tower at Gross Road out of the CDBG grant money that we received. We want to get this project going to build out our new radio system, to move to 800 megahertz.
What timeframe are you looking to break ground on this?
Immediately, like they'll be here tomorrow to start drilling the ground for the geotech.
What's the timeframe for start and finish?
August.
August.
It'll probably be before August, but I'm giving you August.
Okay. So that way they won't be fussing at you if it's
Yeah.
late July. All right, and this essentially is the final major infrastructure to our ultimate 800.
This will replace the aging tower at the Gross Road Fire Station, which
Right.
is a disaster that needs to be taken down. And those antennas that are there will be moved to the new tower, and then we'll put our new antennas for the new radio system, and then we'll have dual capability.
Great.
And it will have a microwave backbone. The microwave will actually,
To Woodbine.
it'll be to Woodbine, and it'll also be to Mush Bluff, because we're going to bring the Mush Bluff Tower, which is the St. Mary's system, into the mix.
That's
So we'll
right.
have 5 sites.
So you're gonna do that from here at the new site, the microwave to the St. Mary's one?
The St. Mary's one's going to go to Woodbine, to Waverly, and the Gross Road's coming to Woodbine. It's going to make a ring.
I don't need to understand that, but I assume it works.
There will be a microwave ring when it's completed.
I get it. Somewhat, enough. All right, thank you, Bill. Is there anything else?
No, sir. You have
Anybody else have
any
any?
questions about the item?
No, I think we've been working toward this for a long time, so. Anybody else have any questions?
And once again, this is out of the CDBG grant money, so
Right.
it's already accounted for. Okay,
All right, can I get a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Bill. Ms. Nancy, are you on?
Got Janice.
I'm gonna do it. Switched up.
Sweet deal.
Yep,
Miss Janice, sorry.
that's okay. We are requesting approval to amend our financial policy to include collateralization of county deposits through the state of Georgia multi-bank pledging pool secure deposit program. These changes, we have not made a change in our financial policy. And we have been collateralizing by the bank at 110%. And this is just a different way, multi-bank pooled method that's been established by the state of Georgia. And that is, since we've been approved to go to Synovus Bank, that's the way they secure their deposits is through that pool fund. We would ask that you approve this to change the finance policy as stated.
Yes, I recall having this conversation when we looked at changing our banking system. Does anyone else have any questions concerning this? If not, could we get a motion on it, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. All right. I guess the next item's you as well.
Yes, sir. We'd ask that you consider the budget amendments regarding the changes needed for the FY 2022 budget. The amounts reflected are adjustments to reflect grant revenue and expenditures and other revenue and expenses as necessary. Staff recommends approval of these budget amendments as presented.
And I understand that this is just part of our year-end procedure of closing out our 22
Yep.
Fiscal year.
Yes, sir.
All right. Just looking over just additional sales tax revenue, EMS collections, which is good.
Yeah.
Good job EMS on additional collections there. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Nope.
Seeing none, could I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chance. That brings us to Ms. Kelsey.
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. This agenda item is for your consideration to approve the purchase of 2 Chevrolet Tahoes, one for administration and one for fire rescue from Stingray Chevrolet. Purchasing received Florida Sheriff's Association pricing from Stingray Chevrolet. A second quote was received from Ron Anderson that was $11,000 more. The Tahoe for fire rescue is for the fire chief who recently became a full-time employee of the county. He is temporarily driving a 2016 Chevrolet truck. The truck is used to transport the fire prevention trailer to schools and other events and is also an additional emergency response vehicle. The admin Tahoe is to replace the one that was approved at the April 5th meeting. When we received the Tahoe, it was a police package. The one that we're getting for admin is an administrative package. The staff recommends approval to purchase 2 Tahoes from Stingray Chevrolet.
From who?
Stingray Chevrolet.
All right, does anyone have any questions concerning this? Seeing none, could I get a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. I should say hearing none, or seeing. All right, this brings us to item 6, please.
This agenda item is for your consideration to approve the award of Public Works and Fleet Facilities Architectural and Engineering to IPG Incorporated. Public Works and Fleet is needing a new updated facility. Their current facility is over 30 years old. Purchasing issued an RFP and received 2 proposals. Of the 2 proposals, IPG was the most responsive and responsible and was the only company to show up for the pre-bid meeting. IPG has confirmed their price is a not to exceed price, while the other company did not. The other company did not include site visits from civil, structural, electrical, and mechanical engineers in their price. This could potentially exceed the difference in price. This is an internal budgeted SPOS item for $2.1 million to build the new facility. Staff recommends approval to award the contract to IPG Incorporated.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Kelsey. I will say on a side note, I had a conversation with Ms. McNamee. $228,000 for engineering and architectural design of a garage shop. I'll have to call my 2 brother-in-laws. Well, my brother-in-law and my nephew on that. They're both, one's with the Corps of Engineers and the other was civil. But whoo-wee, that seems like a big old price on it, over 10%. And I can't say that I know that that's a ridiculous price. Obviously, we have a comparative price, which was less, and I do agree with your points that the stuff that they omitted, mechanical, electrical, and the site visits, you can rest assured you'll be paying more for that, as the time goes. So I don't have any sustainable objections to it. So with that being said, does anyone else have any questions, thoughts,
I
comments?
have one.
Sir.
Kelsey, isn't it mandatory to attend the pre-bid conference?
This one was not mandatory. At first, we did not do a pre-bid meeting, and we started getting a lot of questions and so we met and decided to do a pre-bid meeting, and we did not make it mandatory, that it was optional. And only the one company showed up to it.
That was the RFP.
Yeah.
I mean, the IPG.
Yes, sir, IPG.
Okay.
Right. Good point. And maybe there one's really interested in it. All right. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts? If not, could I get a motion on this item, please?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kelsey. This would be him. I want a body camera on you. I want to keep an eye on you.
Good evening. Previously, in your infinite wisdom, you approved $80,000 ARPA funds to buy a new van to transport the inmates. It will replace a 2000 Ford van that has well over 200,000 miles on it. Of the 3 quotes we got, we actually picked the middle one, which was from Wade's Ford in Smyrna, Georgia, because it comes complete with everything we need other than what we are going to take out of the old van and put in the new one. So I'm here to ask for you to approve that motion.
All right, just quickly, the one from Smyrna is 74. The one from Mobility Works is 83, and the one from Brannon is 62. And you're saying you picked, did the others have the stuff
So
you needed?
one is over $80,000, so they kind of,
Right.
and the other one does not come with the same amount of equipment in it.
Can you identify that equipment? What we're talking about, the difference, Rob?
Yes, sir. Basically, I think it, the original price was, 62.5, and additional 23.6 would need to go into it.
What is the equipment? My question.
Seating, partitions, air conditioning vents.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you're saying the 74 one has that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions? What was the budgeted item? Does anyone remember that? Do we have a, Nancy, when we approved it?
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm thinking it was around 80.
Yeah, it was either 75 or 80,000. It would cover what is being presented.
Are you sneaking in under it? All right. Anyone else have any thoughts, questions? Could I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, sir. Ms. Bishop.
The first item is to waive the second reading and adopt the addition of and amendments to the official code of Camden County, Part 1 related laws, Section 703 to 710 hotel motel taxation. And again, we've talked about this several times. It is simply changing the percentage from 3 to 5%.
All right, I think we've been over this. Anyone have any other second thoughts or questions? Seeing none, could I get a motion on it, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
The next item is a resolution designating deputy clerks and alternate open records officers, which will be Claire Fiesel and Sheikah Robinson, who we all work closely together, so they are familiar with how things are done in my office. And in the event, God forbid, something were to happen to me, they would be able to step in and fulfill those open records requests. And
Now, let me ask you something. Part of this designation legally.
yes, this resolution
But you
is
just-
the
If you're not
template.
here, you're the only one that can send it out.
Right.
Okay.
So
This allows.
yes, this was the template resolution that ACCG
Right.
sends out, and it will have to be sent to the legal organ, so they're notified. And it's just something that we need to do.
Just trying to get you to expand on it and clarify. We're just not naming two people for
No,
entertainment value. It's just that, and two, sometimes you get a little overwhelmed. And,
yes. Mhm.
and in the event that you're out or disposed at the moment, other folks have to be legally
Somebody else
authorized
will
to do this.
know how to do my job.
All
Somebody else will know how to do my job.
right. Anyhow, we get a motion on this?
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Calendar?
No.
Oh,
Record policy.
that's true. The item that we added.
Yep.
Thank you. Senility's a son of a gun, isn't it? Number 10, the motion here is, the item here is to, for the county to abandon its 1979 record policy and adopt the sheriff's policy where the sheriff's office handles it, which, as we stated earlier, that our attorney has reviewed, that he has utilized the state patrol's policy, and that it's, for lack of a better term, been tried and true. So with that being said, could we get a motion on that item as well?
Motion to approve the amendment of the 1979 record ordinance and adopt the sheriff's
Second.
department.
Sheriff's Department record policy.
Yep.
Got all that?
Yeah.
We have a first and a second. You got that? Did you get that, Katie? Ben seconded it. Okay, I didn't know if you heard it or not. We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Just trying to help you out, Katie.
And there's no changes to the calendar.
All right, that brings us to our final public comment section. Is anyone registered?
No, sir.
Is anyone desiring to make public comment finally? Seeing none. Could we get an adjournment? Huh?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a first and a second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank y'all for your participation and cooperation.